Once upon a time in the ancient kingdom of Persia, there was a Jewish orphan named Esther. She was beautiful and kind, but she had no idea that she was related to the king. Meanwhile, King Ahasuerus was having a huge party. He invited all the important people in his kingdom to come and celebrate with him for 7 days. It was truly an extravagant event with lots of food, music, and dancing. And on the last day of the feast, he decided to show off his wife, Queen Vashti. So he sent a message to all the partygoers inviting them to come and see her beauty. But Queen Vashti refused to come when she heard about this. In fact, she got really angry because the king wanted to use her like some sort of prize to show off to his friends. She knew that if she showed up, people would be talking about how beautiful she was instead of talking about the king or their amazing accomplishments. So Vashti decided to send back a message to the king saying, "Tell your friends to leave. You can throw a party without me." The king got furious when he heard this. He couldn't believe that his wife didn't want to support him. And so he summoned all the wise men to come and tell him what to do about this problem. One of the wise men named Memucan suggested that the king should get rid of Vashti and find a new wife. Memucan said that this would make everyone happy, not just the king, because it would teach other women in the kingdom to respect their husbands. So the king followed that advice, even though we know deep down inside that he was wrong. And then he decided to have another huge party, inviting all the important people once again, along with his friend Haman, who was second in charge in the entire empire. Now during the 7 days of parting, there was a man named Mordecai who noticed that someone was trying to sneak into the king's bedroom at night to kill him. Mordecai told this to his cousin Esther, but she didn't believe him. She thought that whoever tried to kill the king would be killed themselves. Then Mordecai explained to her, "Hey, you gotta trust me. I'm telling you, someone wants to kill the king, and I think it's that guy over there," pointing to the man who was still lurking around the king's bedroom. So Esther told Mordecai, "Okay, you go and find out more information. And once you do, I will deal with it." Meanwhile, Haman was going around the kingdom, telling everyone that he was second in charge now, because remember, the king took his position away from the queen when he left. And so Haman kept bragging about his power until Mordecai yelled out, "Hey, wait, why are you so full of yourself? I'm actually second in charge here." Haman was furious when he heard this, so he asked one of his servants to find out what Mordecai's punishment should be. And they said, "You know, maybe you could throw a huge party, invite everyone in the kingdom, and then you could tell them that whoever comes to your party must be put to death." Haman loved this idea, so he went and told the king that he had found a clever way to honor him. He said, "You see, there is a man in the city who has broken your laws and caused trouble for the kingdom. If you let me handle it, I will show you how much you mean to me." And the king was very impressed by this answer, so he agreed to let Haman deal with Mordecai however he wanted. Now when Mordecai heard what was happening, he called for Esther. And he said, "Hey, you gotta do something about this. Otherwise, they're gonna kill us." But Esther told Mordecai, "No, I'm not doing anything. Instead, you just need to fast for 3 days. You and all the Jewish people should pray that God will help me figure out what to do." So that's exactly what they did. They prayed and fasted for 3 days straight until Esther came up with a plan. She told her servant to go and get Haman's list of invited guests, and she wrote down her own party. It was to take place 2 days later, and Haman was invited. Now she told her friend to keep this invitation a secret and to invite everyone else. Then the big day came when Esther had her huge party. She served lots of delicious food and wine and invited all the nobles and important people to attend. But there was one person missing, the king. He didn't receive an invitation, so he was furious when he found out that Esther had thrown a party without inviting him. And as he was fuming and getting ready to storm into the room, Haman stopped him and said, Whoa, don't be mad. Let me tell you what's going on." So Haman explained to the king that this party was thrown by his wife, and this made the king very upset. And as he started to walk away, Haman grabbed onto his robe and begged for forgiveness. But the king got so angry that he ripped Haman's head off right then and there. The whole party came to a halt when this happened, and everyone was stunned silent. Then the king went back into the room and sat down on his throne. As he was sitting there, he remembered that Esther had also invited the king, but he didn't show up because he wasn't invited. And so he summoned her to come into the room so he could ask her what was going on. Esther walked slowly into the room and bowed down before the king and said, "You summoned me." And the king replied, "Yes, I want to know why you didn't invite me to your party." Then Esther stood up and revealed to the king that she was a Jew. She said, "I am Jewish, my lord, and this is my cousin Mordecai. And the reason I haven't invited you to my parties because Haman tricked you into killing all the Jewish people in the kingdom. That's why I didn't invite you to my party. I hope you can forgive me." Then Esther showed the king the copy of the invitation that Haman had sent out, and he was furious. He got very angry at Haman for trying to trick him and kill off all the Jewish people, and he knew that he needed to do something to fix this mistake. So the king went into the courtyard and rode on his horse to Haman's house. He personally tore Haman's head off, just like Haman had done to one of the people in the kingdom. And afterwards, the king gave Esther's cousin, Mordecai, Haman's position, and Mordecai became the second most powerful man in the entire kingdom. That's pretty cool. Then Esther and Mordecai went throughout the kingdom, letting everyone know that they were safe now. No longer did they have to run and hide. And to celebrate their deliverance, the Jewish people started a feast called Purim, which lasted for 2 days. During this feast, they shared stories of how God rescued them and delivered them from their enemies. And the best part was that everyone was invited to join in on the fun, not just the Jewish people. It was a celebration for everyone who believed in God and wanted to praise Him for His amazing works. This holiday of Purim is celebrated even today by Jewish people all around the world. They dress up in costumes, they give gifts to the poor, and they share tasty treats with their friends and family. It's a time for joy and happiness, a time to celebrate how God has worked in our lives. The end. Hey, don't forget to subscribe.